Ahuduauma.
Ahuduauma.
Keti Paheru.
Keti Paheru.
The translation is
Give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself to God daily. And may tomorrow be as today.
We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything and yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neseru Ra, who is the light of the heavens, the light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibility in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akeru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality. And in the moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down, so it is and so shall it be. Everyone say, Amen Ma'at.
Amen Ma'at.
Ma'akeru.
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 MC. Comparison is the thief of joy. That has been a feeling that has been rumbling in me for a few weeks now. And whenever I have these rumblings, I inevitably end up feeling like it's something that I need to share, or maybe just want to share. As I've told you all before, I always consider every lesson and message that comes to me to be about me, first and foremost, and to be something that I have to remind myself. And if I have to remind myself, then perhaps there are other people who have to remind themselves as well. So I'm going to share this thought and these rumblings with you all in the hopes that you all get something out of that. A few weeks ago, I did a communion and I talked about, or I made mention to the negative impact that social media has on our lives. I talked about how social media creates this narrative of believing that other people all have it together, and we're the only ones in the world who don't have it together. Social media has these filters, literal filters, that you can place over your face, over your environment, over your home, over your circumstances, that cause us to get the impression and the picture that everything is okay, better than okay, that you're excelling, that you're succeeding, that you're winning, that you're not struggling, that nothing is wrong. And as an observer of that, eventually, it can make you feel insecure, because the truth of the matter is everybody is struggling. Nobody has it all together. Everybody is going through something. And even if people have a moment of perfection, that moments are fleeting. Nasir has taught us many times that our goal is we may not be perfect, but we strive for perfection. So if we are ever striving, then we are never perfect. We are constantly seeking to attain that. And yet, we have this global network that allows us to present ourselves as if we've already arrived. And it allows us to perceive others as though they are where we wish to be. And that makes us feel small. It makes us feel behind. It makes us feel bad. And I acknowledge that social media did not start the phenomenon of us comparing ourselves to one another. That's human behavior. We've been doing that since the beginning of time. But what social media does is that it expands the options that we have, and it limits the parts of people's lives that we see. Before social media, your options of comparison were limited to your local community. You were a parent, and you're in line to drop your kids off at school, and you're comparing yourself to the other parents. The parent who's always late and always rushing up, and their clothes is disheveled, and they're trying to still button up their clothes while they get their child to school, putting the shoe on while they get their child to school. You're comparing yourself to the parent who's always volunteering for the PTO, always got the perfect cupcakes, always able to chaperone the field trip. You looking like. You're comparing yourself to the parent who has the better car, the nicer clothes. Their kids always have the name brand clothes, shoes, backpacks. You're comparing yourself to the people in your local community. But the benefit of being local is that the school drop-off is not the only time you see them. You also see them at the assembly meeting. You also see them at the school board meeting. You also see them at the dry cleaners. You also see them at the laundromat. You also see them at the grocery store. You also see them at the doctor's office. You also see them when they've gotten into a car accident and they're on the side of the road cursing and screaming and pulling their hair out. These are your neighbors. These become your friends. These become the people whose houses you take your children to for birthday parties. So you see what their house looks like. They see what your backyard looks like. Y'all spend time together. It's more than just the image they want to show you. You're in each other's lives. Social media removes that personal touch, right? It takes something that was local and makes it global. And what happens in the local is that once you're insulated into just your community, once you're insulated into just you start to recognize that everyone else is human too. Because it's only so long that any of us can keep up the illusion of being perfect. You don't probably only get away with it a couple of times or in certain circumstances. Yeah, you always perfect when you drop your child up, and when you're at the grocery store, you're always struggling. And therefore, I can see your imperfections. I can see your humanity. And that makes me more comfortable in my humanity. Because I become aware that you're human too. And it's okay for me to be human. It's okay for all of us to be human together. The reality is, none of us should feel bad about being human. None of us should feel bad about our humanity. Our charge is to aspire to divinity. Again, if we're aspiring to divinity, it means that it's something we have to work on. It's something we have to cultivate. Yes, it's a natural part of who we are, but it doesn't just emerge without effort. It doesn't just emerge without understanding, without trial, without striving. It requires our work. It requires our commitment. And so again, there's gonna be moments when we're bound to fall short. That's what it means to be spiritual beings having a human experience. We spiritual beings who are striving for something great, and that human experience tells us we're bound to mess up. The Hermetica tells us that in the journey to manifesting our divinity, to actualizing our divinity, to rebirthing ourselves as a divine being, the soul's first step in that journey is to struggle against itself. To struggle against itself. not other people, not outside phenomena, but your own self. Your own humanity is at odds with your own divinity. Your own humanity wants to take the forefront. Your own humanity wants you to just accept your mediocrity. Your own humanity wants you to just mire in low self-esteem. Your own humanity wants you to just be average. Your divinity is what pushes you to be better. So it's you who are at odds with yourself. That's the first step. And this is why some people refer to our humanity as our lower self, right? Because it is the part of yourself, whether you mean to or not, whether it means to or not, it's going to work against you. It can hold you back. It can keep you from achieving your goals. It can keep you from recognizing, understanding, and actualizing your potential. Understand that. First, before you even get to actualizing your potential, your humanity can keep you from recognizing that you even have potential at all. And most significantly, your humanity can keep you from actualizing your divinity if you let it. Remember, at the end of the day, the biggest battle that any of us are ever going to face is you versus you. True. That's what that passage in the Hermetica tells us. You versus you. Comparison is a thief of joy because it takes the focus of the battle away from yourself and places it on other people outside of yourself, outside phenomenon, outside situations, outside circumstances. And that is not the true test. That's not the true test. That's not the true battle. That is not where your effort or your energy is meant to go. The true test, the true battle is you versus you. So don't feel bad for having moments of weakness. Don't feel bad that sometimes it's hard to fight against yourself. Don't feel bad that sometimes yourself wants to rest. Sometimes yourself just wants to be ordinary. Sometimes the expectations and the burden and the struggle of being divine is too much for you to handle today. Don't feel bad about that. But do recognize and eliminate behaviors and actions that aren't taking you where you want to go. You versus you is the only real competition. No one else is defining where you're going for you. No one else has created that charge, given you that charge, or assigned that charge to you, or forced you to accept it. You versus you. So if you see yourself not going where you want to go, this isn't about someone else holding you back. This isn't about other people stopping you. This isn't about other people achieving what they want to achieve. That have nothing to do with you achieving what you want to achieve. I really thought about what is healthy competition. Because I thought to myself, well, there have to be times when, in our tradition, competition is healthy, like outside competition between people. So I searched through the Lucia. I said, there's got to be a passage in here that tells me what healthy competition looks like. And I didn't find a single one. And I looked, I looked, y'all. I didn't find a single quote in the whole book. Instead, I was confronted with quotes over and over again about restraining yourself as a person, about restraining your impulses, about minding your mind and managing your ego and not getting run away with yourself. I was confronted with quotes about not being aggressive, not being overly assertive, not being unrestrained, not being angry, not being greedy, not being unwilling to share what you have with others, about being a blessing to your fellow man, about being a blessing to your fellow sister, your fellow woman, about helping elders, about supporting the people in your community around you. I found quotes about cultivating the self, about allowing yourself to focus on you and making yourself the priority, making your own development and your own improvement the priority, not a single message that our ancestors gave us about competing with one another. They told us to support one another. They told us to uplift one another. They told us to be present for one another. So we can't fall prey to our humanity. It's there. Our humanity is a part of who we are. I don't think we should deny that. I don't think we should pretend that that's not true. I don't think we should lie to ourselves and act like we are not constantly struggling with our ego, with our humanity, with our so-called lower self. It's there, but you cannot allow it to rule or guide you. You have to choose to rise above it. You have to choose to be reborn. You have to choose to actualize your divinity. So we're back to it's you versus you. It's you versus you. The question is, where were you on your journey versus where you are in your journey versus where you want to be in your journey? Where are you going? Are the things that you're doing today and the choices that you're making in the here and now enough to take you in the direction that you desire and intend to go for yourself? What is it that you need to do to bridge the gap between where you are and where you need to be? That's the question. That's the charge. Because comparison is the thief of joy, and competition breeds envy. And envy is a symptom of a belief in lack. Each and every one of us are better now than we ever were before in our lives. Every single one of us. Some of us might be like, well, I'm not really where I want to be. I don't care about that. That's not what I said. What I said was, each and every one of us are better now than we ever were before in our lives. So let's remove the judgment about I could be further along. Let's remove the judgment about I wish I had tried harder. Let's remove the judgment about but I'm not where I want to be. Each and every one of us is better now than we were before. So here you are in this place. Here you are having made such progress. You've experienced fantastic wins. You've received these incredible gains. You have been fully and completely blessed. Why are you looking at what's on somebody else's plate? Why are you worried about what they got? You so busy worrying about what's over there that you can neither see nor appreciate what it is that you have, what it is that you've received, what it is that is meant for you. Comparison takes everything that we've worked for, everything that we've asked for, everything that we've always wanted, and it makes it not good enough. It makes it not good enough because when you're comparing what you have to what somebody else has, you're essentially saying that I wish I had more. I wish I had different. I wish I had better. You're essentially saying that all the things you asked for, all the things you've received, is nothing compared to what you think you see somebody else getting. And I want to be clear, there is a difference here between comparison and discernment, right? We do have to apply discernment. We do have to apply wise judgments in situations, right? We have to be careful about the company we keep. We have to be careful about the foods we eat, the places we go, the choices we make. That's discernment. But comparison has with it this vibration of lack. Comparison carries with it an element of dissatisfaction. You're either looking dissatisfied with yourself, so you're looking at someone who has less to make yourself happy, like, well, at least my situation ain't like that, so, doing it for that. Or you're looking at somebody else's situation like, I do have these nice things, but I really wish instead I had these other things that they had. Why can't I have like that? Why can't my life look like that? So in either situation, comparison carries with it the vibration of dissatisfaction. That's the difference between discernment and Lord of mercy, I'm losing my words. Thank you, Kemmunion. All right, that's the difference between discernment and comparison. Does it carry the vibration of dissatisfaction? And again, it might be normal to want to compare. It might even be normal to feel these things. Everybody has felt these things. I believe that entirely. We must know what they are. We must know what they mean and what they're there for, and we must be vigilant in minding them and not allowing them to run away with us. Succumbing to comparison creates a barrier that keeps us trapped. It keeps us trapped in this picture of what we wish we had that doesn't allow us to focus on the picture of what we do have. It doesn't allow us to continue to make progress in the here and now of where we are. It doesn't allow us to take a full scope and picture about what are our talents, what are our gifts, what are our opportunities, where is my chance to improve my circumstance. I can't actually even see what's in front of me because I'm so busy trapped by this picture that's over here. I'm so busy blocked in my own journey because I'm wishing I was a part of that journey. I'm wishing that my path looked like their path. I'm wishing that my path went to the left instead of the right. I'm wishing that my path wasn't my own. Comparison tethers us to our humanity. And comparison, when we indulge in comparison, when we let ourselves indulge in comparison, we are allowing ourselves to remove our faith in the limitlessness of the universe. We are not allowing ourselves to believe in the infinite potentiality of creation. We are not allowing ourselves to tap into that infinite potentiality. We are not allowing ourselves to benefit from that infinite potentiality. We're not allowing ourselves to receive from that infinite potentiality. When we indulge in jealousy, when we indulge in envy, when we indulge in competition, when we indulge in comparison, we're essentially saying that we're afraid. We're saying, I'm afraid that if you win, that I will be a loser. If you win, I cannot also win. If you have, then I will not also have. If you receive, then I cannot also receive. There's only but so much to go around. So there's winners and there's losers. Jealousy, envy, comparison, there have to be winners and losers in that. Because otherwise, you would be happy and satisfied. And if you were satisfied with where you were, then you wouldn't indulge in the vibration of dissatisfaction that is comparison. Right? So ultimately, you're indulging in this very westernized, un-African way of thinking, in believing that there is lack, in believing that there's winners and losers, that not everybody can win, that not everybody can receive, that not everybody can have, and naturally, you don't want to be the one that loses. And that's not even real. It's not even real. The situation. The real thing that I have wanted to say to everyone for the last couple of weeks is, what's yours is yours. And it was never nobody else's. And it can never be nobody else's. And nobody else will ever have it. Period. And if you see something that somebody else has, and it looks like yours, and it looks like what you want, and it looks like it was supposed to, it ain't yours. Because they can never have what's yours. They can never receive your blessings. They can never use your gifts. They can never fulfill your charge. That's not yours. What they have was never meant to be yours. What you have is never meant to be nobody else's. There's infinite potential in the universe. There is no lack. There is no, if somebody else gets it, I can't have it. That's not for you. What someone else has is not for you, was not for you, will never be for you. But with your eyes on somebody else's paper and your hands in somebody else's plate, you think you're open to receiving, but you're not. Your mind and your heart and your hands are too busy and too occupied worrying about what's over there. You're not even taking care of your own charge. You don't have the room in your life to receive your own blessings. You don't have the room in your life to receive what the next group has to give to you. What we think we perceive when we're looking at other people's success is an illusion. It's still only half the story. It's still only ever half the story. No matter how much we see of it, we still can never know their true heart. We can never know how they feel about their lives when they lie down at night. We can never really know the full story. We're only ever seeing half-truths. We're only ever seeing illusions. And we're making ourselves miserable, putting judgment calls and placing value on half-truths and illusions. Lack is an illusion. Lack is a false narrative. Lack is an illusion. Living in this world, there's so many things that tell us that lack is real, right? Like there's all these narratives in the world about how there's not enough food to go around. And then there's also like a competing narrative that tells us that we waste too much food at the same time, right? So like there's people that are going hungry because there's not enough. And then also like the average American family is throwing away like 7 pounds of food a week. So like which one is it, right? Is it too much food or is it not enough food? Lack is not real, right? There's this narrative that there's not enough profits to go around. We can't raise wages. We can't pay y'all more because if we do, we'll have to raise prices. It'll just be too crazy. But then at the same time, on the other side of things, is another billionaire born every week. Which one is it? Is it too much money or is not enough money? Where are these billionaires coming from? How can there be both? Ain't no both. There is no lack. There's money. It's out there. There's greed is out there also. So anytime you hear anyone say, there is not enough, question that. Anytime you think about saying, there is not enough, question that. Because there's plenty of time. If we breathe our way through things, if we stop placing unrealistic expectations on ourselves about how and when and why we get things done, and we start to give ourselves grace and compassion, and we don't rush and overburden ourselves, we'll come to realize there's plenty of time. There's plenty of resources. If we use what we have wisely and smartly, if we're measured in our actions, if we teach ourselves and our family members to appreciate what we have and honor it instead of being wasteful and callous. And if we trust in the Netzeru to provide, there's plenty of resources. There's plenty of opportunities to go around. We all have a network of people right here in this room who all do different things, who all have access to different avenues, who all have different areas of expertise. And this is just one picture of the networks and the friends and family and the community that we have available to us to reach out to ask for advice, to ask for support, to ask for guidance, even just to be like, can you send me a website link where I can read? Tell me what books to read. Tell me what, there's plenty of opportunities out there if you ask the right questions, ask the right people, and be open to receiving the answers that you get, willing to do the work. There's plenty of grace in the universe if you're willing to give grace. Then there's plenty of grace for you to receive. There's plenty of support for you to receive. There's plenty of forgiveness for you to receive. There's plenty of friendship for you to receive. There is no lack. Kemetic Proverbs, in the section that's on concentration and life work. Kemetic Proverbs says, all are not called to the guiding of the helm of state. Neither are their armies to be commanded by every one. Do well in that which is committed to your charge, and praise shall remain upon you. I feel like that pretty much says it all, right? Do well in that which is committed to your charge. Do your work. Live your purpose. Be who you're meant to be. Shine in your area. You weren't called to guide the helm of state. That's not your call. What is your call? Do that, and do it well, and do it better than anybody else was ever capable of doing it. Because it's yours, and nobody else can do a good job at it anyway. Who can excel at your charge? Who can succeed at your charge? Who can do the work that you were created to do on this planet? No one but you. And you'll never be able to fulfill someone else's charge, no matter how hard you try. Their work is theirs, and your work is yours. No one will ever be able to execute. You are the best one. You are the only one to execute your sacred, divine, higher purpose. Just like no one else's hands are meant to do your work, no one else's hands are meant to receive your blessings, and vice versa. But if you're busy looking at their charge, envying their charge, wishing that their charge was your charge, then you're not doing your charge. Then you're not doing your own work. And if you want to know why things in your life are not going well, that's why things in your life are not going well. Because if you're not doing the charge that the Netzeru put upon you, then you are out of order. And nothing in your life can go well if you're living outside of Ma'at. Each and every one of us have to do the work we were meant to do in order for the system to function ma'atically, right? In order for the system, the ecosystem, the cosmos to function in order and in balance and in harmony. Each and every one of us have to play our note. You can't be in an orchestra playing somebody else's note. You messing up the whole song for everybody. You out of order. You out of line. That's why things are not going well for you because you're so busy concerning yourself with how to change your charge, how to get somebody else's charge, how to do somebody else's charge, how to make everybody see that this charge was really meant for you, how to prove that the charge that was given to you is not the real charge. That's why things in your life can't be okay, because you out of order. Your life is out of order. Your thoughts are out of order. Your hands and your work is out of order, and nothing can go right for you until you get back in line. No matter how much you think you're doing in the world, if you out of order, it's never going to be okay. It's never going to be enough. You could be like, but I'm doing good things. I'm volunteering. I'm making donations. It's not enough. It's not okay, because that's still not your charge. What's your charge? What's your work? And are you doing that? As I was finalizing my thoughts about this topic, it occurred to me that some of us need to make peace with our charge. That really part of the challenge is that maybe we aren't happy with what we've been called to do. Maybe we don't like it. Maybe we think that we deserve something better. Maybe we think it's beneath us. Maybe we like, this charge sucks. This my charge. Why me? I don't know. Ask again. You get the life reading, and the life reading be like, this is your charge. You be like, listen, ask again. Can you do another read? Flip the cards over again, see what happens. And as I was reflecting on that, I realized I probably need to follow this up with a whole, I'm not doing next communion though. But in a future communion, in a future period of time, I might need to follow this message up with a conversation about self-esteem. Yes. And self-love. Yes. And self-worth. Yes. And self-acceptance. Yes.
They just told you need to do it.
Don't be giving me work. Don't give me assignments. I receive it. Do I not? I receive it. I done been told, y'all. The people online like, ooh, they telling her. Yes, they did. Do I not, sir? I love it. Ooh, child. All right, well, I guess I'll be back up here then. But for now, I'm going to leave y'all with this. Comparison is a thief of joy. So I have some questions I want to leave us off with, and these are not rhetorical questions. I really do want us to ask ourselves these questions. I want us to meditate on them, reflect on them, journal them, consider them for ourselves, particularly for those of us who might be dissatisfied with our lot in life, those of us who maybe don't like our charge, those of us who might be resistant to our charge. First and foremost, you need to ask yourself, do you really even know what your sacred charge is? Do you really know what you've been called to do? Initiates in the temple know that one of the ways that we discern our sacred charge is through divination, through a life and destiny reading. So we don't just tell ourselves what we think we're called to do. We don't just allow our egos to define for ourselves what the Neteru want for us. We go to the source. We go to the Neteru themselves and ask them through divination. That's what sacred readings, Tepred, spiritual readings is all about. It's about going to the Neteru and asking the Neteru to tell us and to communicate with us. So have you communicated with the Neteru? And have they told you what your sacred calling and charge is? Do you even really know? Or did you just decide something's your charge because that's what you want to be your charge? And some of the ways we know whether or not your charge is divinely given or if it's ego-driven. I was watching Making the Cut last night, and one of the contestants, she was crying. She thought she was about to be eliminated. And she started crying and she said, I did my best here. And even if y'all send me home, I'm going to keep going because fashion is my oxygen. It's my blood. I can't live without this. I don't know who I am without this. I don't know what I'll do without this. That's a divine charge. You can't breathe without it. You can't picture your life without it. Your life means nothing without it. That's divinely given charge. A divinely given charge is not something that you want to do because you think it's going to make you a lot of money. A divinely given charge is not something that you want to do because you think it's going to make you famous. If you're looking for fame, if you're looking for awards, if you're looking for acclaim, if you're looking for people to look at you and be like, wow, you're dope. If you're looking for people to care about what you're doing, if you're looking to create the picture that you think will make people be impressed with who you are, that's not a divine charge. That's your ego. Because at any given point in time when that money doesn't get made, and you don't get that fame, and you don't get the awards, and you don't get the acclaim, you'll walk away from it. You'll give it up for whatever else you think might give you the money, might give you the fame. And people who have a divine charge, if it's their oxygen, you can't walk away from that, no matter how hard you try. So ask yourself that. Is your charge divinely given, or is it your ego? Number 3, does your charge align with your talents? Does your charge allow you to cultivate yourself in valuable ways? And what I mean by that is your charge, if it's a divinely given charge, is going to make you better. It's going to improve you. It's going to improve you, and as a result, improve the quality of your life. A divinely given charge might not seem like it's going to immediately make you money, but it'll change you in ways that are so real and so deep and so fundamental that the quality of your life and the way you feel about your life and the way you perceive your life shifts exponentially. And if you feel better about who you are and about where you are in your life, naturally, you'll have more money, opportunities, gifts, happiness, goodness, grace, compassion. Naturally, you'll have more. And then lastly, would you be satisfied with your charge if you weren't perceiving someone else's charge to be better in some way? Would you be satisfied with your charge? Would you be happy with your charge? Would you be grateful for your charge? Would your charge be enough for you if you were not perceiving someone else's charge to be better? And actually, I'm going to add one more question. I said that was the last one. I'm going to add one more question, though. What are you looking for that you think your charge cannot or will not provide? So yeah, this is not the resolution on this conversation. I'm reminded, though, of our forever charge, right, which is to make ourselves the subject of intense inquiry, right? And so that's what I'm really asking us to do here. No single message, not from me, not from Nasid, not from anyone who speaks up here. There's no single message that's ever going to be the end of the story. Every single message is a part of an ongoing conversation for us to know ourselves better. It's a part of a conversation that's meant to facilitate our path to healing. It's a part of the conversation that's meant to facilitate our path to improvement. to betterment, and ultimately to allow ourselves to know our divinity and to actualize that energy within ourselves on a more consistent basis. So these questions that I've asked you all and this charge that I've encouraged you to undertake of journaling about these questions and investigating this is meant to help you help yourself. Get out your own way. Remember, it's you versus you, so I'm striving to give all of us the tools that we need for our divinity to win that battle. Right? Our humanity is still going to be there. It's a part of us. We need it. But we still have to equip our divinity, our higher self, with the tools that it needs to succeed, to come forth, to be a bigger and stronger part of ourselves, of our lives, of who we are. So I really do hope that you all engage in this continued dialogue with yourself. I hope that you all engage in doing your work, not for nobody else, but for yourself. Because you're the one to benefit from your own evolution, your own progress, your own improvement, your own divinity. Do our netter. Can everyone stand? Left foot forward, arms up at a 90-degree angle. Can everyone say Shomi Amitep? Dianu Uncle Jasineb.
Dianu Uncle Jasineb.
Brothers cross right over left, sisters cross left over right. Open. Give energy around the room. Bring it into the body, and on the count of 3, we'll stomp with the right foot to ground it out. 1, 2, 3. Do our netta. And thank you, Facebook and YouTube, for joining us for today's message. We appreciate your energy, and we also appreciate the energy you send us in reciprocity for today's message. You can send donations by PayPal to templeavenue@gmail.com or by Cash App to $Temple Avenue. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Shamim and Tab.